Hey guys, Clumsy here. Welcome back to another Q&A video. Thanks for all the questions that you've been sending out. We will be continuing with answering them. And we are driving still with my favorite truck here. Sorry if you're finding it repetitive, but I just cannot find a truck that comes close with regard to the feel, the sounds, and everything else. But we'll go through more details as we drive along. Let's get started. We're starting off from Madrid today, going to Salamanca. Ooh, sounds magical. Anyway, let's get going. Is that on reverse? Of course, Zeemod sound still in full effect, and now actually there is a new addition. I finally managed to enable his interior sounds, and I must say I am loving it. You will hear it shortly here, because for sure I will hit a curb at one point or another, or approach a bend too fast, so that will surely come. It's just a matter of time, not if but when. But yes, I'll point it out to you when that happens. Thank you for the tip, by the way. That's true, I had to remove the sound fixes mod by Drive Safely. Unfortunately, as great as it was conflicting a bit with the interior sounds from Zeemod, so I had to remove it to enable the interior sounds. And the interior sounds are nice because they give you how they say, like, you know how we have like air seats here or air suspensions. It's not like the normal seats that we have in cars. European trucks, at least. I'm not sure if American trucks have the same. European trucks at least have a different, a very special seat for their trucks. And they are air seats. That's why it's very bouncy. It's a lot bouncier than many of us would expect. And together with that bounciness are the sounds when those seats do bounce, right? So what Zeemod did is he added those sounds like shh, shh, air sounds like that, so that makes things a lot more realistic. And also now with the new update, I think there was a 1.1 update with the interior sounds, and now in addition to those air seats, the shushing sounds, it also has the rattles. Quite nice. I was driving to this pickup point a while ago and I hit a few curbs because I wasn't being very careful. And yeah, those triggered. Let's take this for example. Yeah, let's hit this curve. Hear it? The combination of the air seats and the rattling. I love it. At one point when I actually hit something, I thought something was really happening, not in game but in real life, because it sounded so real. The rattling especially, like I thought something fell near my desk or something, but yeah, it was all in the game. Beautiful. So yes, what's new with you guys? What have you seen in the trucking sim world? Any new mods you guys are trying out? Alex has been sharing a couple that are in development. I think there is a Volvo FH5, the newest Volvo FH. Looks pretty cool, has that super sleek modern interior. Someone is working on it. I'm not sure what the status is though, but when it's out I'll definitely be trying it out because it looks so sleek. Has all those fancy modern glass panels. No, none of the old school gauges anymore. And it has that very sleek black leather steering wheel with the red stitching, the red stitches on the sides. The interior lining very sleek, as Volvo-ish as it gets. So we'll definitely be checking it out when it is out, and when you do hear news about it, let me know, okay? So I am going to line up for that definitely. And in the meantime, we'll be enjoying our journey here with Zeemod sounds on the 4 series. I've been getting a lot of questions about these. Like, a lot of people seem to be having trouble with making the 4 series run properly. Guys, please check the mods list. What do we say here? If you're new to this channel, we always say this sentence in each and every statement unless I am driving in vanilla. What do we say, guys, for those who are or seasoned veterans, mods list link in the video description. The video description of YouTube is a bit, it's not the best design because I see a lot of people actually miss the video description and they don't know that you can actually expand that. If you look at the video description, you'll see a couple of sentences there. That's not all, guys. All my videos have super long video descriptions with many details in there. My rig, my specs, my mods list. Yeah. That's why I always say mods list link in the video description. So if you go to below this, if you're watching this in YouTube, right, scroll below, you'll see a couple of sentences, and then you'll see a button. You'll see like a see more or show more button there. It doesn't look like a button, but you can click it, and when you click it, the video description actually expands. It shows you the entire thing. If this is the first time you've seen that, let me know in the comments, because I would want to know how many people missed that, because it's not your fault. It's a design issue. Yeah, it's a design issue from YouTube that they don't make that show more button more obvious. So if one person misses it, then it's on that person. But if so many people miss it, it's a design issue, and so many people miss it, so it is a design issue. So don't feel embarrassed if you missed it, if you haven't seen it before. It's not you, it's them. Okay, but yes, I'm here to help with that. Oh my goodness, rumble strips are amazing with the new interior sounds. Okay, I'll take that. Rumble strip goodness plus interior sounds hype. Oh man, loving this. And even though a lot of people have been complaining, well, not really a lot of people, some people have been complaining that Iberia DLC is missing those secondary roads. I guess that's true. National roads, I've heard from you guys, thank you for the comments. National roads in Spain are very nice, very well maintained, so it would have been great if those have been added maybe in a later version. But for me personally, I'm a highway kind of guy, because we don't get a lot of these highways where I'm from in the Philippines. We have a couple of highways, but we don't really get to drive on them a lot. Usually we're stuck in traffic more often than not, and we don't get these high-speed roads so much. Oh, interesting. Gas station right beside the highway. Interesting design. Very practical. Very long on-ramp as well. I like it. Don't even think about it, bro. There you go. Alright. What was I saying? Of course I forgot. Oh my goodness, I lost my train of thought. Dang it. Anyway. Let me try and remember. Oh yeah, the secondary roads. So yes, as much as I would like those secondary roads as well, most of the time I'm a highway kind of guy. I like the big bridges, I like the big highways, because this is something that I don't often see in real life. So being able to drive in these, at least virtually, I guess that's a very normal thing. You want what you don't have, right? That's a very human thing to do experience. So if you are used to driving in highways, you're sick of them, you want more excitement, more adventure, then you're more of a national road, a country road kind of guy, secondary road kind of guy. But if you're like me, you don't get to experience highways so much like these, then this will definitely be something up your alley, which is something up mine. Somehow that doesn't sound so good, huh? Is this a random event? I think so. Tunel de Guadarrama. Let's make sure our lights are on. Yes, they are. Good. I like this. Very nice. I think the signage is spot on there. Well, I wouldn't know in real life, but I got all the warnings I need to drive properly, so I'm happy enough with that. As long as it doesn't affect my driving ability, as long as it doesn't catch me off guard, as long as I have enough signs to warn me of what's coming up ahead, I'm more than happy with it, even if it's not 100% accurate with real life. I'm more of a practical person that way, and as an outsider, I don't really need 100% accuracy. I just need 100% effectiveness, if you get what I mean. Anyway, so a lot of babbling, haven't really got into the questions yet. Let's get to the questions. Let's get to the questions. I still have a lot from Plum. Thank you, Plum, for providing these. These are very good discussion points. And thank you guys for commenting. And thank you for liking and enjoying these kinds of videos. I really love making them. gives us a chance to talk to each other and share our comments, our thoughts with each other. And it's not a one-way thing. I was spending like an hour a while ago going through the comments and replying and sharing your thoughts, and yeah, very nice, very interesting points of view. So thanks for sharing, keep them coming, right? So anyway, next, well, the first question. 1 second, let's maybe turn on the right, turn to the left here, on the right lane. Does that make sense? You get what I mean? Okay, question from Plum. What do you consider to be the definition of a sim? Very controversial. When would you call a game, and when would you call a sim? Tricky. Yeah, like for example, let's simplify it. Let's give concrete examples, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this as well, guys. ETS2, ATS. Would you call this game a sim? Or would you call this sim a game? Oh my goodness, so confusing. Would you call this a game or a sim? A game or a sim, yeah? Let me know in the comments, game or sim, and then why. Okay, is there enough heads up there? Not enough, because I got a violation, and I'm going to blame that on the signs. Maybe I shouldn't, but I'm going to anyway. Also, before we continue with answering that question, you might notice I don't have any barriers in here. I think that is a side effect of the train crossing mod from Zeemod. I think Scan from the Pro Mods team identified that conflict. So it actually removes, if you have the train crossing sounds from Zeemods, it actually removes the barriers from the toll gates here in Iberia. But for me, that's okay. That's a fine side effect. Until Zeemod updates it, at least I have great sounding trains at the crossings. Anyway, back to the question. So personally, when would I do that? When would I call a game a sim? So with ETS2 and ATS, I would still call them games. You know, they're driving games. They're really nice driving games. Very relaxing, very chill. It's a driving game with trucking elements, as I mentioned in the previous episode, and with some simulation elements as well. But I wouldn't exactly call it a sim. You know, should I say I have high standards when it comes to sims? Maybe, yeah. Because it's very subjective. But personally, it actually made me reflect. That's a very good question, Plum. Because, like for example, Truck Sim, I consider a game, a very good game, and there is no you're just a game. Like, it's not a derogatory term, right? It's not in any way, it doesn't in any way mean that it's less of an application. If you call it a game or a sim, it's just leaning a different way, you know? If it's leaning, so in general, I would say if it's leaning more to the casual side of things, you know, having a great driving experience, having a nice chill time, relaxing, more casual. So basically, the more casual it gets, I would call it as a game, even if it's termed as a truck sim. If it's more hardcore, then I would call it a simulator. And how do you classify that then further? What is casual? What is hardcore? Those are all very subjective as well, and each person would have different definitions there. But 1 second, let me first see where I should be turning. I think here. Yes, okay, good. Thank you. For those who are wondering about my field of view on the mirrors, that is using the True Mirror FOV mod. Mods this link in the video description, as always. Mods this link in the video description. Maybe that's what I should put in the video description. No. Anyway, yes, so what do I mean by casual and hardcore? When something is casual, it's more the... not sure I want to use the term arcadey, because oftentimes that gets a very negative term. or a negative connotation that when it's arcadey, but I would term it more as casual when it doesn't really simulate, when it doesn't really represent real life so much. In some aspects it does, but for the most part things are simplified, you know. And they are simplified not for any lack of developer effort or developer abilities. Bit scared about this bend, let me slow down. Not sure if I can trust 90 here. Yeah, I think it's okay. But yeah, I'm not sure. Salamanca on the way. Good. Let me just do a check. 119 kilometers. Goodness. I'm not even sure if I can answer one question here. Don't worry, we'll have more. So if it's casual, then it kind of simplifies many of the things. Like for example, let's take for example flight sim. Yeah. In order to start a plane, because I know more about planes than I do about trucks, I think at this point. In order to start your basic Cessna 172, a basic plane, you would need to do certain steps. Need to turn on the batteries, make sure that the fuel has been primed, make sure it's correct, some buttons, some lights for correct practices. So you would need to do certain steps before you start the engine, right? And for me, the most basic representation is if you have an application that requires all of those, then I would call it a simulation, a sim when it comes to that aspect, right? But if you have something that you say, okay, you press E, press a button, and all of that is done for you, all of that is skipped through, then that is more on the casual side of things, right? One approach is not necessarily better versus the other, it's just different. Yeah, so let's not go into that, oh, casual gamers suck, sim gamers, maybe sim people are not even gamers, you call them sim enthusiasts. Yeah, I wouldn't call one person or one type or the other less than the other. It's just different focuses. Let's say you just want to have a nice time. You don't want to go through all the hassle of fiddling with the buttons. You just want to fly, you just want to drive, right? There's nothing wrong with that, especially when you're in a game, in a sim, you want to relax. It's a perfectly good reasoning, and it should not be put to shame. It should not be lessened in any way. If you are not hardcore, you know, you're no less than anyone. And at the same time, on the same vein, if you like all those fiddling with those buttons, doesn't make you a geek. Maybe it does, but it's not bad, right? That's what you like, and it shouldn't be taken against you. So don't hate on any of those types, guys. Let's respect our differences. It's just what it is, you know. Some are gamers, some are simmers, and there's nothing wrong with either side. But yes, to make it more concrete, that's why I call this a game, because as great as it is, it doesn't really have those hardcore simulation elements like I mentioned, right? Like, I don't know, checking the oil level or checking the different things. I'm sure when you start a truck, you have to do certain checks. Just like when you're starting a plane, you have to do certain checks. Yeah, the brake's good, I don't know, the chock's gone, you know, things like that. I'm sure truckers would be able to give me more insights, real life truckers. Let me know in the comments what those checks are. And I know many people would like to avoid that, you know. Many people would like to skip that because it's a hassle. And that's perfectly fine. But some people would also like that because they want to be immersed. They want to be as realistic as possible. And those are simmers. And the ones who don't like it, those are gamers. And that's perfectly fine. But yeah, so I would call Truck Sim, Euro Truck, and American Truck games because of that casual side of things. And I would call Flight Sim a sim. Microsoft Flight Sim, X-Plane, because they do require you to follow the correct procedures. And in some cases there are automations, you know, they press a button and it starts, but it's more of an afterthought, and the main design is with the simulation in place. But that's how I would categorize them. Another good example, let's say, what's a recent one? Oh yes, okay, OMSI. OMSI Bus Simulator. That is the most hardcore bus simulator I've ever seen. I don't think anyone beats it in terms of how hardcore it is, how much of a simulator it is. So OMSI, I would definitely say that's a bus simulator through and through. It's the best bus simulator out there, I would say, because it's the really has all those elements. I remember trying to program the IBIS, trying to program the route, you know, and fiddling with those keys, and the sounds are so realistic. Oh, that looks so great. That skyline. Is that Salamanca? Salamanca, the magical place. Am I translating it right? Salamanca, is that magic in Spanish? I hope so, because otherwise I'm doing it all wrong ever since. Okay, Salamanca should be right here, but I guess we are on a different exit, so we go straight ahead. So it looks like we'll be only answering one question today, guys, but I think it's a good discussion point, so I'll be waiting for your comments there. But yes, let's say OMSI, best bus simulator, but I don't really like it anymore. I stopped playing it years ago because it's so frustrating. So it's not because you're a sim that you're great. You still have to have all the different packages. It's not because you're a game you're not good enough, right? That's why I keep mentioning being a game or being a sim. It's not really an indicative of something, if something is great or not. It's just the type. It's just the focus. There's nothing wrong with either one. So OMSI, very much a simulator. Compare that with, for example, Bus Simulator 18, which is a great game. I would call that a game. It's a very nice, it gives you a very nice vibe for being a bus driver, but it doesn't have hardcore elements. It has the basic elements of ticketing, driving a bus, you know, getting passengers, but it's not, I wouldn't call it a simulator because it doesn't really have all those intricacies inside the bus. You know, you don't need to program your IBIS, you don't need to set up or turn the buttons on and off and whatnot. All those different things. It's catered more to the casual player, and that's okay, that's great. It actually has a bigger reach, so commercially I think it makes a lot of sense as well. So great. And if you would ask me to pick, I would definitely be playing Bus Sim 18 than OMSI. And I am a sim enthusiast, so what does that say, right? So it's not really indicative of anything, it's just a type, and it doesn't mean you're good or not based on if you are a game or a sim. So let's take that out of our vocabulary, please. It's a different focus. The focus might not be for you, so it's fine that you like one type of game versus the other, but it's not fair to say that one is better than the other. Just one that is better than the other for you. Okay? And that stickiness right there, that was all intentional. I just wanted to test the interior sounds. Of course. Oh my goodness. The number of questions I answer gets less and less with each passing Q&A episode. I think I'll have to do a lot more of these. Hopefully you guys are fine with this setup. Please don't expect me to change my truck anytime soon. Yeah, RJL4 series. Oh, I think I'm going to hit that guy. RJL4 series with Zeemod sounds. It's a tough to beat combination. I've been trying to browse, trying to look for other trucks that I might be interested in there, and there are some that can be quite interesting, but it hasn't reached that point that I really got encouraged to do so. This parking actually is a bit more challenging than I expect. It seems like your typical 90-degree turn, but actually there is that sneaky trailer in front which makes things a lot more complex. Yeah, and it makes things a lot skimpier. Interesting. But it's very practical, isn't it? It fits very well with the place. that you don't have the most spacious parking, you just have enough, and the drivers should have enough skills to park that properly. And I think I might not be part of those set of drivers. Oh, that got accepted. Okay, well, I'm not complaining. And yeah, one last point. That's a very good point by DH. The default lighting is great, but yes, the change in the interior versus exterior. You look, if it's this bright today, you can't even see the dashboard anymore. You can't even tell that I have a wooden textured dashboard there until I look down and make the lighting change. Right? That changes like so. Might be tricky. We'll see. In that, to a point, that's realistic how camera lens do it, but the human eye I don't think does it that much. So I think we have to find a compromise there. Awesome. 430 kilometers. Should add one more city to my list. We should have 10 out of 20. There we go. Perfect. We'll continue more during the stream. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll do more Q&As, don't worry. And I hope you guys are happy with this design, with this setup, because I will be keeping it. That is going to be a dictatorship right there. Unless you can recommend a better combination. Okay, thanks for watching. Have a nice day, Clumsy Trucking, and catch you in the next one. Looking forward to your comments. Bye.